Hey, what's up and hello? This is the Chris Nicole bringing you my views on life, love, and the world of entertainment through my eyes. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on what time you are watching this live. Hello, crew. Hope all is well. Make sure you hit the likety like button on the way in. Pretty please hit that like button because it is for free. So, so. You know, since the beginning of 2024, I would say people are being more bold about coming out about the dark side of the industry that all of us love. I mean, at the end of the day, if you have a favorite show, favorite reality show, favorite artist, you are definitely attracted to the entertainment industry. And they say fame comes with a price. But at this point, I'm starting to see more and more that it seems like that price is your soul. Okay. And Rotimi, his name is Rotimi. For those who have, there's an actual picture up here of Rotimi. You guys may know him from the hit show Power, the original Power. Um, he actually was on a podcast talking about the industry. Mind you, he still works in the industry though. Okay. He still works in it, but he was talking about the industry. And I am going to play the audio because I don't know if this particular channel would kind of do a strike. They're a pretty big channel, but I will play the audio so we can hear it. But he definitely says some very interesting things that really makes me wonder at a certain point, is it really worth it? And I guess maybe for some it is. It is worth it, but it just really shows you that maybe all of these big superstars that we see, there is definitely a price to pay to get to that level. So he is going to talk about in this actual video, he's going to talk about his wife. Rotimi is married now. I don't know what his faith was before his marriage, but I know that he definitely talked about being with this wife that he is with now. He has definitely fully dedicated his life to Christ. Um, Interesting still, though, that he's in the industry. So he's going to also talk about navigating that. But it's quite interesting. I wanted to talk to you guys about it because we've seen time and time again that people lose their minds when it comes to certain celebrities, and it almost seems like a very demonic energy that has a hold on people when it comes to talking about some of these celebrities. And maybe based off of what he's about to say, we may understand why now. So with that being said, let's get into it.
She's that, she's da 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 da. So, and she didn't sacrifice herself with witchcraft.
Right.
And for real, like
Right.
she's been approached to elevate to the next level.
Oh, that's a real thing.
Oh, that's a real thing, bro. That's a real, like, witchcraft, voodoo, juju, all of that is a real thing.
To get to the next level in career.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yes.
Wow.
It's a real thing. So she's been presented opportunities like, hey, this is what we do. This is how we move. This is the things that you have to do to get to this level by top execs. And she was like, I'm not with it. And then also she wasn't going to sleep her way to the top. So then it caused her, and she didn't have management really for real. So like, she's successful. She's doing all these things. And she's to the point where it's like, I'm drunk, man. I got a drink to get out my head and just find peace. And that with the liquor brought depression. So at that point, she was like, this is not me. I love the music, but I hate the business. And she's just like, I can't do it anymore. So that was how she kind of let it go. But yeah, witchcraft.
Okay. So I'm going to pause there. So he is talking about his wife. His wife, I guess, was an artist, a music artist. And he talks about how she was approached and saying, she was great. She was talented, but to really get to that next level, that she wasn't willing to sacrifice herself, but saying that the witchcraft, the black magic, all of that stuff is actually real, that that's what people expect for you to do to get to the next level. And he talks about how it kind of made her depressed. It kind of, like lost, she's losing her mind or feel like she's losing her mind, got into drinking, which would also explain when we see a lot of stuff going on with these celebrities, like some of these celebrities who are at the top of the world. And then all of a sudden, they calling them crazy. All of a sudden, they have, drinking problems. All of a sudden, they have substance problems. It makes you wonder why they have those problems, or if they even have those problems. But if they do, why? Because maybe the dark demonic side of the industry has really caused them to lose their mind. And to me, it shouldn't take that. Now, don't get me wrong. I do not feel that everybody in the industry is pretty much sacrificing their soul or sacrificing themselves. I do not think that. However, the way that he is describing this situation is when you are trying to get to that top of the top level, when you're trying to get to that unreachable status, so to speak, that's when certain things come into play. So let me continue.
With warlocks and voodoo, juju, black magic, all of that is hyper real. That's what made me even believe more in God.
Right. It's so crazy because you get desensitized to it.
Yeah.
Because you will see like the interviews and there's people telling the stories of
But that's what they want you to do, though.
Right.
Yeah, that's the mission. Like the devil, the enemy can't lie to you for real. He got to tell you what it is and you choose to believe it or not. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this person drinks goat blood. Yeah. But I told you that it did. And it's not hiding it. It's just, you just desensitized to it that, no, this is a real thing. You know what I mean? So that's just the ways of the devil.
Did y'all hear that? He said goat, red rum, goat, red sauce. People drinking it. What the hell? Okay, let's continue. And make sure you hit the like button on the way in. Please hit the like button.
Has it, you still in the industry, so has that caused any friction at all in your, how have you both been able to manage still being able to, be in the entertainment industry and still standing on what you're standing on?
I just do the work, bro. You know what I mean? There's no gimmicks. I don't do things for likes. I do it because this is my purpose. You know what I mean? So like, she knows who I am. So she knows she has nothing to really worry about, So also she knows she has nothing to worry about, but then she also knows that, that how the industry is like, so she knows, oh, he's going to be working long hours. He's got to go on tour. She did all these things at a high level herself. So she's just like my vessel to help me with that,
Yeah.
So, and then she takes care of our kids. She got her own businesses, So like, it's a partnership that is just very unique, and I'm grateful for it. But yeah, I mean, for me, bro, like I go to work, I'm not distracted. I love my supporters. We chose not to play the game of just, yo, what are we gonna do for clickbait? That's where it goes left, And so it's like, I know that I could slap a girl on the butt and be like, yeah, this is nice, da 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 da, and then grind on her, and then it's gonna go on Shade Room.
Right.
I know I can do that. Then whatever song I'm promoting at that time is going number one. I know my tour gonna sell out, but I'm not a gimmick. I don't believe in those things. And I gotta answer to somebody higher than that. Like, yo, bro, like, what are you doing? And so. Yeah. So again, we realized with that mindset that, let's build situations like this. Like, for example, focus on the tour, focus on the people that genuinely love you, focus on the ability.
Okay, really quick. I see what he's saying but it seems to me he's saying that she doesn't have to worry about the cheating, or she doesn't have to worry about me trying to do things as far as gimmicks to get likes and things like that. For me, the way that question was given to him, I feel like it was more so about you not going down the deep end and wanting to sell your soul, so to speak. Not the cheating part, but more so about you making sure that you don't go off the deep end. Because let's even talk about that certain roles in certain movies and certain shows that you may get acting roles on can have a demonic twist to it too. What was that movie that Lee Daniels did with Monique? It was called Deliverance. And remember, they said that on set, there was a lot of dark, demented, twisted things going on set. Like someone who is, God driven and really, is dedicated to God, I would say God wouldn't want you to be on that set either. Like there's certain roles and certain things that you may want to stay away from because we are all still of flesh. And we have to pray, we have to fast, we have to do all of that stuff depending on what you believe in. But at the end of the day, there are certain roles that I feel aren't safe for you and certain people that are not safe for you to be around also. So it's definitely one of those things where if you're going to do, the industry thing, you have to stay prayed up and you have to be very selective on what you do and what you don't do. I find it interesting that he also said, I'm not a gimmick. So it's almost coming off as if is he implying if you're a gimmick, that's really the only way that you can make it in the industry is selling your soul to where you can get to higher levels. Because to me, when I was growing up, and I'm sure there's always been dark, demented stuff going on all the time, not only in the world, but in the industry. But I truly felt like growing up, we truly had artists that were God driven. Like God gave them that talent. Even if the devil tried to use it for bad, God gave them that talent. And I felt like people who truly had God-given talent were at the top of their game. Prince, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, and even actors as well. Like I feel like Denzel Washington is an amazing actor. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he was placed on this earth to do what he does. Now you do have a lot of people within the past 20 years who are like, seem to be at untouchable status. And for me, I often wonder, like, how the hell did you get here? Like, how did you get here? Exactly, Bookworm. Yeah, The Wizard of Oz too, Danielle. Poltergeist, The Wizard of Oz. There's a lot of, you got to be even careful about what sets you step on. Because when they were talking about Deliverance and all of the crazy stuff that was going on, I think Monique even said she had this big lump on her neck. That stuff, all of that stuff gives demonic energy. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to also navigate a certain way in the industry too. So it's quite interesting his response on this, but I didn't look at it as in him trying to, oh, well, she knows that I have to work long hours. She knows I'm on the road. To me, that kind of came off like he was trying to say, well, I'm not going to cheat on her. But it's like you got a lot of other things to be concerned about besides cheating, especially with you being bold enough to talk about this. And especially with you still being in the industry. Your wife is out of it, but you're still in it on the acting side and on the music side. But let's continue.
To captivate everyone that gets your message and stop chasing things. So I surrendered to that. You know what I'm saying? Like I surrendered to that. So now, but in doing that, I realized how many artists can go on a 30-city tour.
Right.
How many artists can do that? Not a lot of artists can do that. And so when I realized, like, I say this, bro, the biggest thing between a goat and a sheep, I stopped trying to chase being a goat. A goat, if you look at a goat's ears are down, that means you don't listen. But a sheep is ready to listen and their ears is perky and they listen to the voice. I'd rather be a sheep, you know what I mean? I'd rather be a servant, you know what I mean? And then work that path. The goat, it ain't it, man. It ain't it. That's something else that they put in your head to think it's something else, and it ain't what it is. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'd rather be a shepherd, you know what I mean? And if you look, I don't know if y'all do that, but look at the picture of a goat and look at the picture of the sheep. A sheep is ready to listen at any time. So that's what I changed, and everything just started opening up.
Quick intermission. We didn't plan this.
I don't want your intermission. So yes, I did hear about that. Let me put this back up here. Did I hear about what the star from Snowfall said? Yes, you are talking about Dansum Idris. I was a big Snowfall fan watching the show. I thought the writing was amazing. He did mention something about the last season, how he had to pretty much channel in to the dark side for him to do certain scenes. That definitely, when he said that, I think it wasn't even just me, but a lot of people was like, what? Sir, what did you just say? Which is interesting because again, he was talking about the last season and certain scenes when clearly people who watched Snowfall thought that Damson was a phenomenal actor even before that last season. But to me, when he said that, in my personal opinion, it was giving off as if he was letting people know that he was willing to do that. That's what it was given for me, in my opinion. Not that he actually, and maybe he did, but that he's willing to go to that other side to get to that level. That's what's because I was like, why did we even need to know that? Why did it even have to be in an article or had to be put out there? Maybe because you wanted it to be known, you know? So that was definitely interesting when he said that. And we'll definitely see where his career takes him too. You know what I'm saying? If we start seeing him in all of these amazing roles and like big time, you know, blockbuster movies and TV shows, then maybe, just maybe, right? Wasn't he a we used in the last season? No, he wasn't. I don't want to necessarily give it away because I think you said you were gonna watch it. He was not a we user the last season. He just went to a very dark place, and he said he had to hone in to the dark side to get to that dark place. And he said it in an interview, and we was just like, first of all, that's weird. But second, why did you need to say it where you publicly had to make it known? Seems to me he wanted it to be known. He wanted people to know. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. But with that being said, they continue to talk, and we're definitely, and shout out to the actual podcast. It's called Hardly Initiated. They actually have a lot of people who are very Christian focused on the actual show. So I've definitely seen their podcast before. And because they are a big podcast, I just didn't want to risk it, even with fair use, to actually put it on here because I don't see a lot of people sharing their stuff. So that typically tells me that they have no problem striking your stuff down, even if they are Christians. I mean, at the end of the day, it's business for them. So, you know what I mean? I just definitely will stay away from it, especially when, you know, you definitely have had jerks and moist math people who do it. I wouldn't put it past anyone else at this point to do it. Oh, you do follow them? Yeah, I've seen a couple of their actual interviews before. They're great podcasters, you know, and they're growing. Like they jump, like their numbers completely jump. But let's get back to it.
Any opportunities you had to turn down at this point in your career? Like, because obviously she was, you know, in the industry on another continent doing business. Is it the same here in the States that you see a lot of those same practices and same things being presented for people to rise in their career?
Well, here, back home is very straightforward. Like this is what we do. Hey, this is what we do. Here, it's, you get what I'm saying?
Oh, okay, because it's Africa.
It's Africa. It's like, look,
you already exposed to this.
This is what we do.
Wow.
This is how we go about it. This is the warlock that we talk to. This is the village we go to. Right. So you want to do it, you do it.
Standard.
Here, yeah. Here, and that's not everybody, but like if it is, you know,
I get what you're saying.
I get it.
But in terms of here, they mask it in different ways, man. Like, you know, sex is in your face every day. You know, lust is in your face every day. You know, things that make you question your morals every day. You know, being a part of perpetuating gossip is every day. You know,
he's talking about how, because he's from Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken, and I believe his wife is from another country in Africa as well. which honestly, this is something that I've learned literally within the past 10, 15 years. And I feel like those who are, because I am Christian, I feel like the churches didn't really prepare us for this. But there are people who do practice dark magic and things like that. There are people who practice that stuff and they go to church every Sunday. I actually read a book about that, about how there was this pastor who actually came from a family of like warlocks and people like that, but they went to church every Sunday. So he's saying, and the pastor I'm talking about is also from Africa, so he's saying in certain countries in Africa that they're just out there with it. You either practice it or you don't. Like, it's something that is just out there on if you practice it or not. To me, what he's saying when it comes to the US is that it's just more subtle. It's more subtle. You know what I'm saying? Like, it creeps up on you type of thing, and you don't even realize that this is actually going on. Yes, definitely hit the like button, please. Hit the like button. The like button gets me in the algorithm. It is free. Hit the likety like button, please. Continue.
So like you're consumed by it. Like, so you got to choose not to do it. You know what I mean? So that's, for me, I was like, okay, this is clever. It's the industry. It's a clever way to get you to do certain things.
Right.
It's, I got to do that to be, it's the same thing. Oh, so this person did that to get there. I got to do that to get there. Oh, I'll do that. It's the same thing.
Yo, you know what? That's, what that makes me think of?
What?
When I see these award shows and these ladies pulling up, and it seems like the standard of being on these red carpets.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It seems like you got to be naked now.
Yeah,
that's like the trend. That's the current trend.
It's a
right
trend
now.
right now. It's like the see-through clothing.
Yeah.
I gotta dress. The more, it's like the scantily clad ain't even enough. You damn near got to be naked now.
Absolutely.
To be in front of the world.
Yeah.
And this is now, because it's almost getting normalized to see these women be naked in front of us.
Yeah.
Which it really blows my mind.
Yeah.
That it's like that's what you got to do.
Agenda. That's the agenda.
Is that okay? So that's some
intentional.
It's some group.
Yeah.
It's pretty much passing these messages down to the management and the artists. And
absolutely, you got to go with it. This is what's hot. First of all, they funnel millions of dollars to put this in your face and make you think whatever you're watching is your choice. No, they put $2 million in artists. They put $2 million in there saying, she's going to run the blog. He's going to run this. He's going to run this. He's going to run the playlist. He's going to run the music. And he's going to run TikTok. We're going to put $100,000 into TikTok. We're going to spend $200 per TikTok influencer. Put $100,000. That's 50,000 influencers doing whatever. And it's hot.
Wow.
That's everything is agenda. Everything. So when you.
Now, that part is definitely deep. Okay, what he's saying in general is deep, but he pretty much was saying they pretty much program you to think that you are choosing to watch what you watch or choosing to like what you like, which explains a lot of how people lose their minds over certain celebrities, over certain TV shows or movies. Have you seen people who literally get so involved in characters and so involved in the show that if you say anything against a certain character or a certain show, people lose their minds? He said it's all intentional. They put all of this money into it. It is truly getting a lot of people, not all people, but a lot of people to lose their freaking mind. Exactly. Desensitized from the nonsense. Like, they really have altered people's brains. And it really explains how 1 minute you can have somebody who's on top of the world, or it seems like they're on top of the world, and then they piss somebody off, or you definitely feel like they done pissed someone off, and then now they're hated. How do you go from claiming that you love that person so much to now you absolutely hate them because you never really liked them in the first place? The marketing and everything that was pushing you to like that person, it altered you to like that person until they was no longer hot based on the powers that be. Right? And it also makes you wonder, if you really have some of the top people out there to get where they are doing black magic, dark magic, witchcraft, or whatever the case may be, to stay where they are or to get where they are, how much of that is influencing the masses? Because you hear that people put that type of stuff in their music, in their movies, in their shows, that it's not just about making sure that they use the witchcraft to get what they are, but also putting the witchcraft on others so those other people can continue to like them. I've heard consistently going down a conspiracy hole that it's in the music, it's in the shows, it's in what you watch, and how that truly can alter people's spirits and how they think. So this stuff can get really, really deep, which is why I try my best to be very mindful about what I listen to, what I watch. And sometimes I have to just detox myself, and sometimes I just don't listen or watch anything that day. I do something else, because it's getting crazy now where things are so subtle that you may think you're looking at a show that, may just be a normal casual show. Then all of a sudden you're feeling all of this type of anger, this tension, and you're like, where the hell is this coming from? And you don't even realize that there could be something deep rooted and dark in them creating what they created. I just talked about the Power Rangers, a freaking kid show, action figures. But you had all of these people who were a part of that show, all of these actors that met their demise with some very dark energy. You can't convince me nothing dark was surrounding that. You know what I'm saying? So it's those type of things that really make you wonder. But let me continue.
Again, when you can do things off the merit of just being solid, standing on your morals, standing on who you are, that's why I take pride in saying, yo, we still got a 30-city tour. We still got UK tour, Europe tour after this. So like all of these things, because we're doing it the right way without sacrificing anything, and we're not competing with the dollars that they have to basically do this agenda. Like everything now is clout over quality. You get what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
I rather side with the quality side, because clout is for 2 seconds. What happens when they stop spending money on you? What happens when they say, you know what? Yeah, 3 weeks is here. You know what? I like that she said this about men. Let's put money around her. This is all they do, bro.
Right.
This is all they do, bro. So like you got to fight through that. But I always say we got Holy Spirit PR over here.
Exactly.
we got Holy Spirit management. We got Holy Spirit PR. Things just start formulating in a way that I cannot explain it. And I'll choose this. Like for me, one of my songs, Bestie, has 10 million views. You know what I mean? 10 million. Wow. And that's all organic. I'd rather have it where people chose it than, again, to say that and be like, oh, this person got 250 million. I know that it was programmed for y'all to like this. You chose to listen to the album and say, bro, I can't skip it. You chose to say the same thing. Like, you don't hear it everywhere. You hear it when you want to. So for me, just knowing that I have that impact, I stand by that.
I'm glad you brought some practicality to it.
Now that's real. Not everyone. Some people do want that microwave success where it's quick and fast, even if the downfall is fast. Or some people are willing to do some very dark things to stay on top, to get on top. But what he said for me resonates with me, because he's like, I'd rather have the organic people follow me than to have the program or the machine behind me or dark energy behind me, because once it's done, or once you fall, you fall. So I definitely like that. Like he said, keep your morals and your integrity intact. That is definitely how I am. At the end of the day, yes, I am trying to grow my channel, but I'm not about to do the most ignorant stuff to get there. I'm going to do what's comfortable for me. I'm going to do, and I'm going to stay to who I am and my morals and my integrity. So I appreciate that. Just like I appreciate when Cat Williams came out, and he's the one who really started this trend. even with him, he didn't go straight into he didn't get into the witchcraft and things like that, but he was mentioning that it's either God's side or the other side. So I think a lot of people in their own way are saying, especially people who truly do believe in God, that there is definitely a lot of stuff going on in the industry that people really don't understand what's going on. They just think that it's pure entertainment, but the reality is not. The reality is it really could be messing with you, your kids. Like, you don't really know what's affecting you at this point. And people, that's the problem, is that people think that it can't happen to them or it can't affect them. Everybody can be touched, and that's why you have to stay prayed up for those who believe in God.
Because typically when you hear about kind of the ritualistic, goat blood drinking type of situation, everybody has like, it's this unbelievable thing, or you just completely conditioned to hear, you're not concerned about it, but you made it really practical. It's not always those things. It could be, hey, I know you married. Let's get you next to this woman who's dressing promiscuously, and then let's benefit from the traffic draw. So it could be any of those things.
The devil is clever, bro.
Yeah.
The devil has studied us. You know what I mean?
Smooth.
He's smooth. He's the smoothest, bro.
Right.
Like, he's the smoothest of them all. You know what I mean? Sadly. So he knows what you like. He knows how to play. He knows your insecurity. He knows how to make you angry and live in anger. He knows how to, the phones can listen to us now. So if you haven't talking about this, that's the first thing you're gonna see. You know, so it's all around you. You know what I mean?
So yeah, so that was the clip. Shout out to Rotimi. Again, he's still in the industry though. So I mean, I know he's saying that his faith is strong and he's God protected, but to say what he's saying and he's still in the industry is quite interesting. Like, I could see if his wife was saying it because she's no longer in the industry, but he's still acting. He's still doing his music. Music can be different though, especially if you're going the independent route, but he's still on like known shows, if I'm not mistaken. So it's quite interesting that he's willing to talk about it. But again, maybe at this point he's fearless and he's like, hey, I'm God protected. It is what it is. And people need to know what's really going on out there. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's the case. Yeah. I definitely understand what you're saying on that, because I thought that when he was talking in the beginning, I was like, okay, him talking about his wife and how his wife was like, you know what, I can't do this. And as much as she loves music, she got out of the industry. I thought right after that, he was going to say, I'm not acting anymore. I'm not in the Hollywood game. I'm just doing my music independently. I thought he was going to say that. But when the actual interviewer said, you're still in the industry, he said, yeah. So that's quite interesting. But again, honestly, it's weird, but I'm kind of grateful if everything he's saying is really true, because, and here's why. We got to have good people and people of faith and godly people stay in these type of industries. It can't be that all of the dark demonic energy is the only thing that's left. These good people have to push through so other good godly people can have opportunities, right? You know what I mean? So you got to have examples of people who did not compromise and sell their soul, but they're still making money, aka Cat Williams. Cat Williams, you know what I'm saying? Even though, like I said, that GQ magazine to me was a little weird, but he seems to still be very intact about not compromising himself to be in the industry. And yet he created his own lane. He created his own comedy tours and then started selling it to Netflix. He may not have $200 million in his bank account, but I would say 20 million in his bank account is still pretty darn good. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about saying that you're a billionaire. It's not about saying you are, you know what I'm saying, a multi-millionaire. As far as I see it, if you are able to do what you love and you don't have to compromise yourself to where you have to numb yourself on a consistent basis to live with yourself, and you can actually have a career where you actually are happy and content and you can make money and be comfortable, that is a blessing in itself. This whole I got to get rich, rich, rich. Sometimes that process or that mentality takes you to the dark side automatically. Because if you're too busy trying to say I'm trying to get rich or famous versus I'm trying to perfect my craft, people scare me when they say they just wanted to be famous or they wanted to be rich, because you know what that means. You're willing to do whatever the hell you have to get there. You know what I'm saying? You will do whatever the hell you can to get there. You know, I've heard that, bookworm. I heard that industry can be really dark. But you know what? Honestly, every industry at this point can have that. It's just dark. This world is dark at this point. But, you know, of course, naturally being from LA, it piques my interest when you have people who have worked in the industry who are willing to talk about the dark sides of the industry. And Rotimi being African, also being Nigerian, and knowing witchcraft and black magic because that stuff is practiced in his country. You know what I'm saying? So he's playing a guy working with a crooked mega church pastor on the shot. I mean, hey, and that's what I'm saying. Like he's still acting. He is still acting. So, but again, it can throw us off, but I feel like we do need good people to push through and to stay prayed up, but still push through. So then there can be other good people. Like I feel like godly people can still be able to make careers in the entertainment industry. I do believe that. You know what I mean? I don't believe everybody has sold their soul. There's probably a lot who are dibbling and dabbling, but everybody has not sold their soul. It may be a slower and steady climb to get there, but they're still working. So, you know, hopefully this is who Rotimi is now. He said his wife really is the one who kind of set the foundation of him changing his life. You know, so hopefully that's what it is for him. But that's another thing that I mentioned. Certain roles that you play. You know what I'm saying? Like certain roles that you play or certain, like, I don't see how somebody, you know, who's like really God-fearing would want to be on like something called Deliverance. No disrespect. But once they read that script, it's like, is this just acting, or do you really have to go to a dark place or let something dark take over you to be able to do that role? They can keep that dirty money. Yeah, I think God works in mysterious ways. Absolutely, absolutely. But if God calls him out, he better listen, because Whitney was hard-headed. Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. I think a lot of our superstars back in the day, there was a mixture of ego, but there was also a mixture of being completely naive. I think a lot of them truly were just God-given, talented people who just wanted to be able to do music, and people love their music, not realizing what they were getting themselves into. I think the generation now, these people now, they definitely know what they're getting into. I feel like back then it was about the music, the art. Now it's about the fame and the money. And I think that's what we're seeing as far as the difference is concerned. She was supposed to have left years ago, but she will still be there. Yeah. And then unfortunately, the substance issue was a part of her downfall also. Kanye sold his and has buyer's remorse. Yeah. Yeah. And I think he wants to blame everybody else, in my opinion, instead of really looking at himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's another thing too. But the difference is, I truly feel Kanye is a very talented person. It's just that the ego and the fame and the rich side of it called him more. He wanted to be that guy. And yeah. So now he's trying to say people can't control him, they can control the others, when clearly at one point they were able to control you too. And now you're mad. You know what I'm saying? Like they were able to control you too. But yeah, so this was very interesting. Go to their podcast if you want to see the whole entire episode, but they definitely did a segment on this part where they cut it. So he was talking about, yeah, it's real. The witchcraft is real. The black magic is real for you to get to the next level. That is definitely real. If you guys go down a deep rabbit hole, even on YouTube, you will see how they talk about certain videos, certain concerts, and certain things that people are subliminally putting in their work to entice you and to pretty much hypnotize you and to pretty much take you to that side. Like it's deep. It's deep. And I think a lot of people brush it off, but just as much as you believe in God, there is a darker side too. And you have to make sure and understand that there is a dark side. For you to ignore it is for it to take a hold of you. But to know that it's there and to constantly check yourself on a consistent basis, I think that's what we have to do at this point. You know what I mean? The spiritual realm is no joke. Absolutely. It's definitely no joke. And I think a lot of people think it's a joke. And then they realize it's not a joke when it's too late. Unfortunately. So yeah. So Danielle. But you know, that is definitely one. If you put her name in the YouTube world and you put that stuff in there, you will go down a big rabbit hole. But it's not just her. They say a lot of artists, they say a lot of celebrities, a lot of people in this industry. They say a lot of them. Okay. Yeah, as they say, what good is, you know what I'm saying, like you lose your soul to gain the world. Like what good is that, you know? But for some people, they don't care. They want to be able to have the fame, the rich, the fortunes. So yeah, you guys, I would like for you guys to continue the conversation below about this. I would like to see who's coming out next. Who's gonna come out next? You know what's interesting? The guys have really been coming out talking about this. You really haven't seen any celebrity females really talk about this, which is quite interesting. You know who I also think had a moment where he had a meltdown moment, but from my understanding, they said that he really wanted to kind of expose the dark side of what was going on in the industry. Didn't at one point Mel Gibson kind of had a crash out or a burnout? Didn't he have one also? And I know he did Passion of the Christ. Mel Gibson's the one who did Passion of the Christ, which is interesting because at one point they said he crashed out. I can't really remember exactly to what extent and the things that he said, but it's quite interesting that he definitely had a moment of crashing out. I remember back in the day, Mel Gibson, he was that guy, especially in the 80s. And even in the early 90s, he was that guy. And he did the Passion of the Christ. Remember when he did that movie? It was a big deal. And then all of a sudden, maybe like right after that, they said he crashed out allegedly. You know what I'm saying? So it's quite interesting. So I think this also kind of puts things into perspective when you see celebrities who are all of a sudden at the top of their game, and then all of a sudden they're saying that they crashed out or something's going on. You got to look at that. You got to look at the Britney Spears. You got to look at the Dave Chappelles. You got to look at the Martin Lawrence. You got to look at a couple of people and be like, was this really a crash out? Or was this the powers that be that wanted to make it seem like they were crashing out so they can try to control what they needed to control? It's deep. It's deep. But Rotimi, he put it out there. I'm curious to see who else is going to come out and talk about it. I'm loving it. I am loving it because, again, I truly hope that this is motivating people to say, hey, these are examples of how you don't have to sell your soul and you can still do the things that you want to do. You don't have to sell your soul. You can still be a comedian. You can still be an actor. You can still be a singer. It may be a longer road. It may be a more difficult road, but you can still do it. And I think we need to hear those type of voices versus the ones who kind of numb everyone and make it seem like that it was just only hard work that got them where they are. Yeah, no, doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like it. It seems like you definitely had some help. Okay, you definitely had some help. So, with that being said, you guys, let's continue the conversation. Do you feel Rotimi is right? Do you feel like what he's saying is valid? Do you feel like he's full of it? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you feel about the situation? Do you feel the dark energy that has happened within the industry within the past 20 years? I know I have. I know that I feel like this industry has changed a lot within the past 20, 25 years. So I definitely would like to know your opinions on it. Let's continue the conversation. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please hit the likety like button. More likes means more people coming to my channel, means I am in the algorithm. The likes is what gets me there, okay? But I think it's all a distraction. What's all a distraction? The him talking about witchcraft and stuff going on is a distraction. What part is a distraction? I before we go, I want clarity on that, on what part is a distraction. I've been trying to get right with God. Times are too strange. Ain't that the truth? We all are a work in progress. But yeah, what is the distraction? Is distraction like the Cat Williams and the Rotimis talking about this, or is a distraction the things that people are doing, the alleged witchcraft and the black magic being incorporated in their work? What part is the distraction? Before we go, big bookworm, because I'm kind of curious to know what you think about that. But at the same time, you can always continue the conversation in the comment section. All of it. He's claiming he's Christian, but is still holding on to fame. It's like, I judge by fruit. Oh, okay. Okay, so you're saying in particular, Rotimi this is a distraction. Okay. I mean, do you feel that someone can be God-fearing and truly live their lives through, for Christ and through Christ and still work in the industry? That's a question. Do you feel that someone can be God-fearing and still work in the entertainment industry? So that may be a conversation also. Some people do feel that you can't. Some people feel like, you know what I'm saying, that you can't, you have to choose a side. But some people feel like you can still represent God and still represent and still show your talent. Because I'm a firm believer that God still gives talent to people to entertain people and to make people, feel good. Like, I don't feel that every gospel singer is a horrible person. So, it's definitely a conversation that we can have. You know what I mean? Can you still work in the entertainment industry and be God-fearing? Because let's be clear, YouTube is a form of entertainment, right? YouTube is a form of entertainment. I do YouTube. A lot of people do YouTube who love God. And I'm a work in progress. Y'all know I curse like a sailor. And maybe because in my normal day-to-day, I can't curse at all. And so when I get on here, I let loose and let go wild. I'm a work in progress. But YouTube is also a form of entertainment. You know what I mean? So that is actually a great question that we can end on. Can you work in the entertainment industry and be God-fearing? So with that being said, please hit the likety like button. Please hit the likety like button. Like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on my next video. Toodles.